What up everybody, it's ipadbeatmaking.com, and today I'm going to share with you something you probably don't know about Roli Blocks in conjunction with ZenBeats. And there isn't really any literature on this anywhere. There isn't really too many videos at all explaining all the things that are really possible with the Roli Block situation. You might have seen a couple on the Lightpad Block, but I haven't even seen any on the Loop Block, which, believe it or not, can also do things inside of ZenBeats, which I'm going to share with you in this video today. But before we begin, please be sure to hit the like button if you enjoy this video and find it useful, as well as the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on the latest news, tips, tricks, tutorials, and more. And with that said, let's get started. Now, if you're anything like we have been over here at iPad Beatmaking, you might have got caught up in the hype when Roli first got announced and they showcased how well it could be used on an iPad and an iPhone along with the Roli Noise app, and you probably were like, man, I'm gonna make some hits with this. The Roli Noise app was AEV3, the blocks can do MPE. It just looked incredible at the time. But come to find out, as we got the blocks finally in our hands, we learned that a lot of the DAWs weren't actually MPE capable DAWs. On top of that, other DAWs don't allow for playhead control of the app, so your loop block was essentially a brick. One of the better integrated apps for the Roli Lightpad and Seaboard situation and loop block situation actually was GarageBand, and not many people followed their lead. Add that to the fact that in order to make adjustments initially with the Roli block situation, you needed to have a desktop computer and things like that. It turned a lot of people off overall, and the fact of the matter is that when you opened up different apps, the Roli blocks didn't actually respond to the changes within the app. They were kind of dumb, even though they were seeming like they should have been smart. The DAW makers never really integrated them. And Roli itself, I don't know what part it had to play in this, but it didn't really make it a point to be integrated across the board. I remember there was GarageBand it had integration with that was great. Cubasis, when they had an update, I believe it was version 2.6, was updated to support the Seaboard, but you really didn't get the loop block capability built in. And the Lightpad block, yeah, you could use it the way you had been using it with the kind of the stock option on the Lightpad, but it didn't really do anything special and spectacular inside of Cubasis to say it was even worth using in conjunction with that app. And as you know, Nano Studio 2, Beatmaker 3 do not support MPE, so again, it just becomes, what are you using it for? Really not much. It's initially fun playing with the standalone noise app, but other than that, it really collected dust for a lot of us music makers over the years. Well, one of the best kept secrets about it is actually how well integrated it is with Roland ZenBeats, formerly Stage Light. And I don't know why they don't advertise this better and really tell you what it can do, but I think you're going to be kind of shocked at all the things that you can do with the Roli blocks. And so with that said, let's get started. Now what we're gonna do first is connect the blocks. You can see right now they're kind of on the control grid mode. And we're gonna go to settings and we're going to connect it. Now once you've got your Roli blocks connected via Bluetooth, now is where the fun begins. Okay, so as you can see instantly, things look different on the Lightpad block. Once you've got them connected via Bluetooth, or I guess maybe you can also plug it in with a wire. I haven't tried it that way yet, but you will instantly see that we have colors here on the Lightpad block that correspond with the colors here. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sounds pulled up. And on our Lightpad block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had room for a 9th one, but it's not there currently because it's not there. Now let's pull up, for instance, an ipadbeatmaking.com kit. Let's go under users, and now we can go into, let's go into a trap kit. Now we have 16 sounds loaded, and our Lightpad block has changed in order to reflect the fact that we've decided to load a drum kit with 16 sounds. So we've got those loaded up. Another thing that you can do is you can go into settings, go on to interface, and then if you were to change the way that it looks, all of a sudden the lights change also. which is really cool. But that's one thing that's been documented, but let me show you what else you can do with this. First of all, if you've got the loop block, you can hit play and it will start to play. Pretty cool, but kind of to be expected. Record. Starts to record everything. Now here's where it gets really interesting. We can hit this graduation cap button, and all of a sudden it switches us over into the linear view. So we hit it again, we're back in the launcher or loop or clips view. We hit it again, we're back in the linear timeline view, which is the more traditional format for a DAW. Now, another thing that we can do is we can turn the metronome on and off. You can see right here is the metronome symbol. Once we hit it, it turns on and off. Another thing that we can do is we can make snap to grid. You see the grid? When I hit the button there, it changes, and you can also see the option actually change. So, see snap to grid on the top here. When we hit that, that changes. Pretty cool. So let's say we load ZC1 in, and we'll just go with the stock situation, and already we have a change here to the left. Now, what these specifically do, I'm not 100% sure about what each corresponding color does. It seems to be like a filter, gate, cutoff, something like that, but I'm not exactly sure, so I don't want to lie to you. But we can switch through them and change it into something else also. Again, appears to be more filter. And then if we switch here, we now have a keyboard essentially. And then this button here, this is actually the wrong direction right now. I know this for a fact. So clearly I've had the orientation of the Roli wrong. In conjunction with the blocks, it decided it was gonna hook up the wrong way. But this is your octave up and down. Okay, and right here is a sustain button. So if we were to go, hold that, let it go, it lets go of the sustain, which is pretty cool. Now, we are in the ZC1, so let's say for instance we were to record something. We don't like it, we can hit this, we just undid it. That easy. So we can undo it. But let's say we did that on accident. We can go to the top menu here, hit redo. But another cool thing I want to show you is that when you go to the, let's pull the mixer out here, the fader. Now the faders in ZenBeats are notoriously little. It's really, really tough to do anything meaningful in terms of mixing with these little faders. And then if we were to pull the whole screen up, you would expect the fader to go up, this to be adjustable, movable. Unfortunately, it is not. When you look at Cubasis or something like that, they really got this down right. Even when you look at a Nano Studio 2, the fader size is very comfortable. This fader is tiny, and depending on your device, it only gets smaller. So unfortunately, that's what we have to deal with. But if you have the Roli loop block, you are fortunate enough to be able to have some access to mitigate that. The left and right volume up down buttons here, you see I'm pushing it and it's going down from, it's at 8.5 now, I push it again, 8.9, push it again, 9.4. So on average, these things roughly drop about a half a decibel per hit. Obviously, depending on how long you sustain it, that changes. Now I'm holding it down, and it's not really scrolling up. When I hold it down, it just stops. So holding it down or pressing it, you need to press for each individual time. Now there may be a way actually within the Roli ecosystem on your desktop to change some of the characteristics of that. Kind of doubtful about it because this seems to be a ZenBeats mode that the Lightpad goes into. that you really can't ever adjust outside of anything. It's just there. It's like ZenBeats is talking to the Roli Lightpad exclusively. Whatever they've got going on is their own thing. But before I get out of here, I want to show you something else that's pretty cool, because usually dealing with the Roli Blocks, it's a one-way trip pretty much. So I'm going to get rid of this here. Let's delete that pattern and let's record something. Let's get our keyboard version of our Roli pulled up. Now, turn off the metronome. I want you to pay attention to the Roli Blocks here, the light pad, how it lights up on the notes on playback. Now on iOS, it's really rare to get the MIDI to actually get out of the DAW and back into the actual device you are playing through. So you can see the MIDI notes when you're playing something. Let me go ahead and mute this track. Oh, that's another thing I didn't tell you about. So if we hit the button here, you mute the track. So the grid at the top left mutes the track. And the speaker, what do you think it does? It solos the track. Really, really cool and useful for when you're in a workflow. So yeah, you can see the light pad lights still light up when it's playing through the different notes. Now, why Roland ZenBeats doesn't advertise this really cool situation they've got going on for the Roli Loop Block and the Roli Lightpad, I do not know. Someone please tell them they should tell people about this and give people a more in-depth analysis and understanding about what it could do. Because I know a lot of people's Roli Lightpad and things like that who are using iPad and iPhone exclusively might be collecting dust, but this is a good reason to bring those things out of the closet, out of the storage, and really try them out with ZenBeats. It makes ZenBeats a lot funner, a lot more intuitive to be able to use these in conjunction with it, because let's be honest, ZenBeats isn't the most user-friendly DAW on iPad. It takes a lot of long presses and kind of different modes to get to where you're going. It can be a little confusing for a new user, or if you have a workflow you really enjoy in another DAW, it can be a bit of a turnoff. But using these Roli Lightpad blocks and loop blocks, it's a lot funner than it ever was before for me personally. So if you do have these sitting somewhere, I would definitely recommend that you pull them out, try them with ZenBeats, tell me what you think. And is there anywhere that they have a detailed explanation of what these things do online? Please let me know down in the comment section, because I've not been able to find it. I'm really just discovering this stuff on my own. I know a few videos have been done regarding the Lightpad block specifically, but I've never seen anything on the loop block. So it's pretty cool to be surprised by just hitting the button and things just work. Anyways, with that said, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button as well as the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on the latest news, tips, tricks, and more. And be sure to check out some of the great kits that we've got for ZenBeats as well as other DAWs at ipadbeatmaking.com. Now, before I get out of here, I'm just going to go over this one more time what each of the buttons on the loop block does. Now, the top left button, the squares here, they mute the track. The speaker button, immediately to the right of that, solos the track. The metronome button, as you would expect, turns on and off the metronome. These buttons here make the snap to grid turn on and off. You see when I push it, the snap to grid turns on and off. This button here is an undo button. You see I just undid the snap to grid by hitting that. And we can go back even further. See, now it's on solo. And now it's gone. And it's what it was before. But we don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and fix that. Now, the play button plays the track, obviously. The record button obviously records the track. And then we've got this button here, which takes you from the launch mode, loop mode, clip mode, whatever you want to call it, into the linear timeline view, which is really convenient. And then if you have the track selected, when you hit the plus or the minus button, we are suddenly able to control the fader, but it takes individual presses. Holding it will not drag it down or drag it up. You have to push it each time in order to get it to react. And on the Lightpad block, we have like a little keyboard here. This is obviously turned the wrong way right now, unfortunately. That's the way that it initialized. I will have to turn that myself after this video is over. But we've got that view, which is the keyboard. And then we've got some other features that are like filters or choppers or something. I don't really know what they're supposed to do. Love to see some documentation on what exactly each one of these parameters does. But then if we go into the drum plugin inside of ZenBeats, we then encounter, let me solo this track also. We then encounter our drum pad situation, and again, all these change color on the Lightpad block depending on which skin that you've chosen for ZenBeats inside of the settings menu. Now, again, one more time, if you've got 16 pads, it becomes 16. If you've got, let's see how many we can actually get to go with this. I wonder, I'm curious myself. So yeah, as we go through ZenBeats and we add more sounds to the kit, you can see that it is continuing to add them. And I wonder how far we could go with this. You can get up to 25 sounds to show up on the Lightpad, how you set your kits up. So, pretty cool, something that's really not talked about at all with respect to the Roli Blocks. So yeah, here we are. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like we got 8 different sounds. And if we were to take them out, you can see this changes. Let's see if it changes to a solid 4-pack. If we get down to 4. Yep, there it is. So pretty cool stuff. It really does respond to whatever you do with respect to ZenBeats and the Roli Blocks. So with that said, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's ipadbeatmaking.com. Peace.